Okay, usually people head over to the Micromouse contest. We want to get a good start. So we're getting close to beginning. We're just waiting for our judges to get together, but let me explain a little bit about the contest to people who haven't seen it before. So the idea is to try to build a robot that can find their way through this maze on the floor. What's given in this contest is the size of this maze. So it's a grid, 16 by 16 grid. The goal of the entry is to get to the middle of this grid, so any of the 4 squares in the middle is the goal. And it always starts in one corner, and it's always heading in a known direction. So you can program your entry in whatever country you live, and you can test it, and you can go to some other country, and you'll always know where to start and where you're going. What you won't know is where the walls are going to be for your contest. And so just before every contest, we set up the pattern. This pattern was designed by someone who was on a team with me many years ago, Gerardo Molina. He designed this pattern. We set it up at 7 o'clock. The entrants have been practicing all day, but they haven't practiced on this particular pattern. So we're going to begin with our first entry, which is PicOne Turbo. Here you are. Okay, so he's going to put it in the start square. Tell him when you're ready to go. Okay, it's off. So we start measuring the time from when it leaves the start square, and we're waiting for it to get to the middle. Now there are some rules that we're trying to encourage certain behavior in the entry. So one of the things that we're trying to encourage is efficient searching. So we actually charge a penalty for all the time that you spend searching. So 1/30th of the time that's spent before you start is added to your run. Now this run is the very first run. There's no penalty associated with the first run. We also want the entries to be independent. We want them to work by themselves. If you take any pictures, make sure you don't take flash pictures. Sometimes most of these entries have infrared sensors, and they may be affected by flash pictures, so we don't allow that. So if your entry crashes and you have to intercept it, then we say that the entry has been touched. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I might have jinxed it, but I hope not. So that's the end of the first run. And then this will be the second. Now, when an entry crashes, it's up to the designer whether they want to reset it or whether they want to let it keep going. So if they let it keep going, then it can take advantage of information that it learned on its first run. There's always this question about when it crashed, did it make a mistake? Did it see a wall that didn't exist? Is the path blocked at this point? So you don't know that, but most people let it keep the information that it had, and then they keep going. So you'll see that on the second run, it usually avoids some things that it runs into on the first run. So I don't know what Jim did during his choice here, but we'll see it all play out. Okay, so he decided to reset it. So we should be seeing it do the same thing that it did before, except for the crash. Or not. So there are programs on the tall tables out there, if anybody's interested. Has a lot of detailed information about the entries. Sometimes you're interested in, what kind of hardware goes into these things, and so a lot of that is listed there on the program. We also have pictures. And in the program, you'll see that this entry has been around for a while, and then it uses sort of technology that's readily accessible. So it's programmed in BASIC, and it's more about people learning how to use a Micromouse or make a Micromouse than it is about making it the fastest Micromouse in the world. That will be in stark contrast to the ones that we see later. But this is a perfect one to have at the first of the contest, because then I have time to explain everything. If you have questions, yell out, and I'll be happy to do my best to answer them. So this is the 33rd running of the APEC Micromouse contest. This is the 34th APEC, so we were not there for the first one. But after that, we've run them every year. Getting close. All right, outstanding. Okay, is this, don't start yet. Yeah, you do, but we're just recording stuff as a backup. Yeah, we're good. All right, are you armed? Okay, go ahead. All right, so now it's learned the route, and it's going to try to do its best without going down any dead ends. Maybe it decided it's insert some more? In general, the entries keep track of which walls they've seen and which walls they haven't seen. And they sometimes ask the question, if the walls that I haven't seen were all open, would there be a better path? And so if the answer to that is yes, then they may go over there and investigate that situation. So that's probably what's happening here. Yeah, one more run. So we're giving everybody 5 runs tonight. And they get 5 runs and they get 7 minutes. All right. Well, that's too bad. At least they got to the middle once. So let's have a round of applause for PicOne Turbo. All right, go ahead when you're ready. Tell us when you're ready to go. So if you took a program, then you'd see that this is sort of an educational mouse. This comes out of Taiwan, and they're trying to make an entry. Okay. They're trying to make an entry that would be economical for them to build. So there's a great emphasis on trying to use cheap motors and cheap parts for it so that they can make it as a kit and they can give it to students. One of the problems with the Micromouse, or one of the things that you always would like to have, is a good encoder that will tell you how far your wheel is rotated, how far you've gone. And encoders cost money, and so this one is an effort to try to get around that problem. It uses the accelerometer together with a low resolution encoder to do its positioning. And so this is one of the few full-size mice that actually does this. All right. So in that particular run, there was no search prior to the beginning of the run, so there's no penalty for searching, and it hasn't been touched, so there's no penalty for touching. So the score is equal to the time, and in that case it was 44 and a little bit seconds. One of the things that you want to be careful is you don't want the thing to crash during the search. And so people are often conservative. Later tonight, you'll see a less conservatism. Okay, get ready. All right. There you go, diagonals. All right. Well. So on that particular run, the time was about 13 seconds, 12.959. The score was about 16 seconds. So that additional value for the score is because of the time of the search run. So we're trying to reward high-speed searching or fast searching or efficient searching. Often they search on the way in and they search on the way out and then they make a run. Get ready. Okay, so now you can hit touch. So usually cleanliness of tires is extremely important. And so he's decided that he's going to take the touch penalty so that he can clean the tires of the entry. And that usually is good for significant improvement in performance. A little bit faster. So the time is going down. The score is going up because of all the touch penalties, or all of the searching penalties. Now, we have people competing from all over the world here, and so different countries have different rules, different contests, and one of the biggest contests is in Japan, and they don't have the penalty for touching, and they don't have the penalty for searching. So we also have a prize for the fastest run. So people are looking for both the best score and the fastest run. All right. That's the last one. Okay. All right. So a good showing by EduMouse, 1.5. Thank you. Right. So I think it wasn't finished searching, so probably it's going to search more, I'm not sure. Right, got past that. All right, here we go. Made it. So 8.305 seconds for that run. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So I think this mouse and all the ones after this are going to have fans on them. Oh, no, not Derek's. So we have one more non-fan mouse. Thank you. Okay. This is Fab 1. If you have a program, you'll see that this is a 6-wheel drive mouse, and all 3 wheels on each side are driven, and the center set of wheels are slightly lower than the ones in the front and the back. So the idea is that when it accelerates, it's on the middle and back wheels. When it's on braking, it's on the front and middle wheels, and when it's turning, it's mostly on just the middle wheels, so it turns well. You might notice that many of the other entries have 4 wheels, and those wheels are usually geared together and driven. The wheels on one side are driven by one motor and the wheels on the other side by another motor. So when those mice go around a corner, it's a little bit like a, whoa, a little bit like a tank. something might come loose. All right, we're off. This time, hopefully, none of the theatrics. So many of the other entries have four wheels. So when four-wheel mouse goes around a corner, it's a little bit like a tank because the wheels on both sides, it's like the tread. And so there's a certain amount of skidding that goes on. And in this design then, the goal is with the center set of wheels that you won't have that kind of skidding because they're mounted slightly lower than the front and back set. Totally freaked out by that corner. This is not normal. One more run.
See it? Suspected one.
All right, is that it?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Derek. Sorry about that. Okay, this is EduMouse 2.
No.
Not today? Yeah, let's try it. So they told me when they came that this one actually wasn't doing very well and that they didn't think they'd be able to run it. But then just before the contest, they said, oh, it's doing better now, we should try it. Right, so this is the experiment. Maybe it'll cooperate, maybe not. But we're not happening? Oh. So this was the same previous platform, but with the addition of a fan on top. And so they just finished the hardware, and they've had a hard time getting all of the other things working in time. And so that's part of why it's not quite going. But we wanted to at least try. Thank you. So if you have a program, you'll see that on some of the entries I've marked how they did in the last Japanese contest. So probably the premier Micromouse contest takes place in Japan, usually in November, usually around Thanksgiving. Don't go yet. Wait. Now ready. Go ahead. So we have 3 entries from China, and the one that ran first is the one that came in 6th in the Japanese contest. So we have people from 1st, 3rd, 6th, and 10th, I think, in our contest. So then I asked them to rate the 3 mice that they were bringing so that I could put the slowest one first. And the one that came in 6th in Japan is the one they said was the slowest. So we should be in for a treat. So 29 seconds on the search for the first run. Still searching. All right, ready? Arm, it's going to go. Last one, right? Yeah. Does he have another round? No, that's it. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, you'll notice that this is the only U.S. entry in the contest this year, so. Right. Eighteen and a half seconds. Mike.
So I had a bug like an hour ago that wouldn't be able to perform this gear off. Yeah, even though I'm really fast and search speed. probably won't run. But
Oh, we have to be hopeful.
yeah. Well, I'll probably search at any time. It's not a faster.
Are you going to search again?
Yeah,
All right.
faster.
Oh, okay. He's going to try searching at a higher speed than that one. So that was 18-second search. Probably the fastest today.
Yeah.
Think you made a mistake?
Yeah.
We don't usually know why the mice do what they do.
Am I going too fast?
That is.
All right, that's it.
All right. Thank you. Sorry. All right. One of our judges is next. We don't have that one. We have every other award.
Press the button.
So once you put it in the start square, you can't take it out. If you do, then it's a run. But if you can do something to it while it's still in the start square, it's okay. So he figured out that he hadn't turned the button on, but he was able to get it to go without lifting it out of the start square, so it's good. All right, 24.8. Oh, he's already touched it, so there's no reason not to pick it up and clean the tires. This might be the first contest where people are running their fans during the search phase, usually at slight reduced power, but still able to search faster, and then they turn it up. Whoa.
Taking off is on his license.
I've been known to put my mouse in the checked baggage on the way home if it does poorly. All right, Lightning McQueen. Thank you. All right, 20 seconds, 20.6. That was impressive. I think that there's something hot. And so he's waiting for it to cool down. So he's looking at the time, says, I got plenty of time to let it cool as much as we can. I've seen this before. 7 minutes is a long time. We try to pick a time that isn't super short. In Japan, they give you only 5 minutes. But here, we're trying to encourage people from all over the world to participate. So sometimes a little bit extra time to search is, a good thing. And so that's why we allow 7 minutes. So he can use that to his advantage here. That's great. So the motor that people often use for the fan on the motor, the mouse to suck it down, is from a drone. They have very, very little resistance, and they run, that's what's so hot right now. So he's hoping that he can get his fan motor back into good shape for the final run. And you might know that the resistance goes up with heat, and so the motor's less powerful when it's hot. So if we can let it get cooler, then it's probably work a little bit better. He only needs 10 seconds, right? So. Down to 2 more minutes. I don't know if there's anything in the rules about using canned air to cool your entry. I don't think we've ever put that in because it's never come up before. People used to use all kinds of chemicals to clean their tires. That was quite common, including ones that would tend to melt the rubber. They usually smell terrible, and I'm sure they were all carcinogenic. Anyway, we don't allow that anymore. All right, we're getting ready. Wow. 7.037, so it was faster. All right, thank you very much. Excellent. All right, Diu-Gow 5. So this one came in third in Japan last year. Okay. All right. So a really fast run. This is what the kind of run you're always hoping for, right? It's been very clean, no touch penalty, minimal maze penalty. And now that's his best score, probably. It's hard to get a best score after you've touched the mouse. So now he's going to go for the high-speed run. So he's at 7.2 seconds. He needs to knock off about a little less than 2/10. I hope the scoring system is this good. So the sensors at the start and the finish are sampling at 2 kilohertz, just so that you know. So we're doing our very best to make sure that it really is good to a millisecond. Yeah, it would never work if it wasn't automated. Done. This gentleman has won this contest before, so you can see why he does so well. And he's won in Japan also. He says no faster, but we'll see. Yeah, he said it was the same speed, and often if you run at the same thing at the same speed, you don't always get the same time, so he was right. So very, very impressive. Okay, we have one more entry for this evening. And this is the one that won in Japan this last year. That's a heavy burden to wear, but it's going to be good.
Low pressure.
He's not happy. But maybe it'll be okay. All right. Last drop. The last drop, right? Yeah. All right. Here. All right. Thank you. All right. Give us a second to figure out the order.